This video is about modules 1 through 7 in the book Technology for Success, Computer Concepts, 2nd edition. Module 1 talks about the impact of digital technology. In the beginning of this chapter, I learned the in-depth computer components and what a computer truly is. The components are called hardware, which are the physical parts of the computer. Examples of this are keyboard, hard drives, and monitors. The software within the computer helps it perform tasks. An example of this is Zoom. And then there's data, which is also very important. Data is a collection of information that is processed to complete tasks. But the computer had to start somewhere. The first generation computer was controlled by the vacuum tubes. Then second generation, which was a little bit smaller but more efficient and not yet portable. Then there were integrated circuits, and found within them were silicon chips and transistors. And then microprocessors were made. And then after that, personal computers were made, like Apple. Computers continue to change and become more advanced over time. You don't realize computers and technology are everywhere. LOT, L-O-T, is when processors are embedded in products and communicate via wireless networks and the internet. The definition is very important. This refers to different classified applications for homes, healthcare, and businesses. For example, people use their phones to control some of these examples of these processes. LOT is only a short portion of the use of technology and its advancements. Businesses rely on computers to run it. Schools are being more dependent on using technology to better education. Healthcare systems are also using computers and technology to their advantages. For example, my grandmother has diabetes. She uses an app and a monitor on her arm to track her sugar levels and warn her when they get too low. There are so many different occupations that are considered technology careers. Technology sales, data storage, retrieval and analyst, information system and security, and software engineer. Module 2 is about the web. This module teaches different ways to connect to the internet and how to properly navigate through the web and its different sites, apps, and components. There are so many different types of websites that perform different tasks. But websites can be secure, insecure, and can be reliable and unreliable. An example of unreliable might be that the site doesn't show updated information or it does not have reliable sources. Examples of the web could be web browsing websites, the internet through the World Web, or browsers like hyperlinks. I also learned the different components that make up a web page, including header, footer, body, navigation bar, and citations, which also helped me in prior projects for this class. E-commerce is where people can buy and sell stuff online, which can have many pros and cons. Examples of this are business to consumers, which is B2C, consumers to consumers, C2C, business to business, which is B2B. And throughout these sites, there's security protections and deals like selling clothing, buying clothing, and pet toys, supplies, anything you can really think of. There are different search engines for the purpose to look up just about anything you have a question on, or if you want to find something specific. Some of the tools to help this happen are specialized search tools and web directory. To find specific information, you can also use keywords or certain punctuation to indicate it. When searching information, you need to take ownership rights into consideration. This is to make sure everyone's personal work is secure. Examples include copyright, DRM, digital rights management, public domain, and CC Creative Commons. Module 3 is about hardware and processors. You can see and touch these components which help fundamental functions. Examples include laptops, tablets, phones, desktops, and all-in-one computers. Then we learned about input versus output. Input devices have information that go into a computer system, but output refers to the information or signals that come out of the computer. Examples of input are your keyboard, mouse, barcode readers at a market, or a joystick. Examples of output are headphones for listening to music, printers for printing papers, speakers, and projectors. When working with computers, you also need to take measuring hardware performance into consideration, which is everything within the computer that is functioning by using clock speed, cycle, word size, and benchmark. You also need to take troubleshoot hardware problems, which are problems that are solved within the hardware like an adapter. Maintaining hardware is also into consideration. Maintaining hardware can help it last longer. You can do this by avoiding water, avoiding overheating, and keeping it clean. Module 4 talks about the operating system and file management. The operating system is one of the most important parts of the computer. It manages the hardware and software within it. You can also customize it. The operating system has affected every document project we've done so far within the class. The operating system workspace controls icons such as apps, desktop/home screen, windows such as files and folders, and buttons that give certain controls. There are different types of operating systems called single user, desktop, mobile, and server. An important key word to know is SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. Software is accessed over the internet, but you must pay instead of it being already installed. An example of this is Netflix. Folders and files have different components that make them important. An example of when I use them are to sort my papers from different classes. To create a folder, you can use Folder Explorer or directly on the home screen. Files store documents and just about any individual piece of information you'd like. Folders organize the files. To protect all of your folders and files, you can save them to your personal iCloud. Afterwards, you can name and date them. Folders can be different sizes based on how much you store inside them, which is measured by gigabytes. In each folder, there cannot be a duplicate file name. And then on top of that, you always are able to create or delete them when you're done with a project or when you're creating a project. Module 5 is about app use. All apps are considered software that appoint different tasks. They are usually separated and determined by the way they look because they each have their own unique picture and icon. Apps are also sometimes split into different categories like personal interests, like food apps, shopping apps, communication apps, like emailing, texting, and then device management apps. Types of apps might include native apps, mobile apps, portable apps, and web apps. Another example of certain apps are productivity suites, are a group of apps that are very helpful to an individual, like Excel, Word, Spreadsheet, and PowerPoint. Those apps are then broken into their own categories, like word processing apps, spreadsheet apps, presentation apps, database apps, graphic apps, drawing apps to 2D, and painting apps to 3D, and photo and video editing apps. Module 6 is about cybersecurity and safety. Cybersecurity is the practice that protects devices and different types of technology from fraud and scams. Examples include cybercriminal, threat actor, and state actor. Malware and social engineering are the type of tools used in these attacks. Malware is when the attacker enters the device without the individual knowing, and social engineering attacks are when they trick an individual into giving their personal information. Meanwhile, while using the internet or many devices, there are so many threats, hazards, and risks, and even cyberbullying. Examples are data collection risks, physical hazards, and behavior hazards, and environmental hazards. To help protect and prevent issues while using the internet, there are so many types of authentication to go through, like fingerprint, passwords, and face recognition. For example, we go through authentication processes to access our D2L. Like, it sends you a number, then you verify, and then it scans your face. Another way to make sure your data is backed up is to ensure your data and information is saved, like on an iCloud or another source. There are different software options that can help prevent the risks, or you can take steps to ensure there are no risks, like researching and learning and recognizing the signs. Module 7 is about digital media. Digital media is content that an individual creates digitally, like podcasts, YouTube videos, and streams. There is different types of digital media, like 3D animations, which is natural motion, and 2D animations, which is lifelike motion. Digital media consists of digital binary data, 0S and 1S. Digital media can be in the form of videos and audios like footage and sound. It can also be in the form of graphics and web animations like cartoons. You can create your own 3D and 2D media by using apps and different graphic hardware. People tend to protect their own creations with watermarks to ensure nobody takes them. Different types of gaming digital media include gaming controls, VR game, and mobile games. When using digital media, there are so many components involved, and you can edit anything specifically to your liking.